Hello, everybody. It's the Sean Show, episode 9 of season 2. Getting through it. Week 7 of NFL football is here. Already had Thursday night football. Let's get to the agenda really very quickly. Get out of my way. Alright, so we got, same as always, we got the week 6 sim results. We got the week 7 sim predictions. Against the spread picks. We got lines we like and the bets for the show. So let's get straight into it. Alright, so here are the sim results for week 6. For those of you who are new to the show, before the season started, we created a sim of every game of the season, and we're tracking how it's going throughout the season 2 of episode of the Sean Show. Right now, it's going okay. Better than most people would pick, I guess you'd say. So it's doing pretty good. Now, this simulation was created I want to say 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the season. This was before the Micah Parsons trade. This was before the Trey Hendrickson signing. So there was a lot of unknowns. And there was definitely not as many injured people from starting lineups. But this is how the sim went. For week 6, it went pretty good. 8 of 7. Like I said, better than most people. We got that Thursday night football game. As you know, we're kind of doing okay on Thursday night football, regardless of this week's. Alright, it went Broncos, it picked the Colts, it picked the Chargers, it picked the Steelers, it picked the Pats, it picked the Raiders, it picked the Chiefs. Again, this was created before the season, so things like, you know, the Niners and the Bengals being picked, and the Ravens. The sim didn't know about these injuries. It took into account certain injuries, but not the ones we see here today. Now, let's go into the sim picks for week 7. It did pick the Steelers, like most of us, and they got Joey Flacco'd. What can I say? They got Joey Flacco'd. It's bound to happen. Now, the Steelers was everybody's pick for the Super Bowl. They were by and far the favorite. But it's kind of Aaron Rodgers' season, you know. This shit kind of happens to Aaron Rodgers. Being a Packers fan, I know what it's like. So, Steelers are not going to the Super Bowl this season. Full stop, man. DK Metcalf was like not even on the stat sheet. It was crazy. I didn't see the game. I was working. But still, what the hell? Next, we've got in Wembley, in only, I think 2.5 hours actually, we have the Rams being hosted by the Jaguars. Of course, England is their home country outside of Jacksonville. This was decided a while ago. It has got the Jags picked here. I kind of want to go with the Jags as well. They are plus 3.5. We'll get to that in the spread. But yeah, it's picked the Jags. Rams are out a tackle. They are also out Puka Nacua. Could be a big thing. Devontae Adams might have a big game. Tutu Atwell might have a big game. Who knows what's going to happen there. I kind of do have the Jags though. Now, Saints vs Bears. It picked the Bears. It knew the Bears was going to eventually be something. Saints are on the way up, actually. Rattler has had a pretty good past 2 games. They've been keeping it competitive. Kellen Moore turning this thing around, especially with that massive cap deficit that they were under at the start of the season. Before the season, when we went through our head coaching changes, I am also going to go with the Bears here at home. It's the Ben Johnson era. It's the Caleb Williams era. Things are heading up. Roman Dunze is there too. Next, we've got the Miami Dolphins going into Cleveland. The Sims picked the Browns. I kind of am also picking the Browns. We'll talk about that a bit later. Next, Raiders versus Chiefs. It does have the Cheeks here. They are back on their BS, looking like a Super Bowl contending team. They're going to be on the up and up. So get ready for some Chiefs wins coming to us. I'm also going with the Chiefs here. These two teams have had a history. I've seen the Raiders beat the Chiefs with a very subpar Raiders team, but maybe not this week. The Sims also picked the Vikings against the Eagles. I kind of agree with this. The Vikings have not had the greatest. The Eagles have been slightly on a downtrend. Despite putting away games, they've become predictable, and they've been leaning too much on the run game and the tush push. Anything could happen though. Next, we've got the Carolina Panthers going into the Factory of Sadness 2.0. The Sim has picked the Jets. I thought it was going to be a better team than it is. Time will tell, time will tell. I've got the Panthers myself. Next, we've got the New England Patriots going into Tennessee. A lot of people saying this is a revenge game for Mike Vrabel, who used to be their head coach and was fired for absolutely no reason. So, yeah, I'm also going with the Pats. They're on an upward trajectory here. I do believe if the Bills lose this week... Oh, no, if they win... If the Patriots win, I think... Oh, the Colts. If the Colts lose this week and the Patriots win, the Patriots will be the number 1 seed in the AFC, so that's interesting. I'm also going with the Pats here. Next, we've got the New York Giants going into Denver. The Sim did pick the Giants. This is very much probably going to be a Denver Broncos game. Fofo and 6, Jackson Duck and Cam Scatterbow, breathing some new life into this New York Giants franchise. The Sims picked the Giants. I like the Giants. I got a soft spot for them. I think probably the Broncos win, but I'm gunning for the Giants here. Kind of want them to win that division. That might put an end to Russell Wilson's career, unfortunately. Anyway, we have the Colts, the number 1 seed in the AFC, going in to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. The Sim has picked the Chargers. This is a tough one. I think Chargers are favored because they're at home. I think... What have I picked? I've picked the Colts at plus 2.5 here. I think they can win this game. Chargers have been down there running back. I think Kyron Williams. No, that's for the Rams. They've been down there running back. A young guy, Amarian Hampton. But their backup absolutely blitzed the Dolphins last week. So maybe they got something good going. This is a tough one. Again, I'm probably going to go with the Colts. I think the Bolts win though. But I'm going to go with the Colts. Weird way to say that. Next, we got the Packers going into Arizona. The Sim has picked the Packers. I'm also going to pick the Packers. We'll talk about this during the spread section. We have the Washington Commanders going into Dallas for a divisional game. The Sim has picked Dallas. This is a real tough one. I might hold my pick until the ATS. Next, we've got the Atlanta Falcons off a hot win against the Bills going into San Fran. The Sim has picked San Fran here. I kind of want to go with the Atlanta Falcons here, and I think I will. Talk about this more in the spread section, possibly the betting section. This Sim has also picked Tampa Bay to take out the Lions. I think the Lions are favored 6.5. I don't know why. They just had a pretty bad showing against the Chiefs. Bucks won their game. Might be the injuries to the Bucks. I'm taking the Bucks here. Next, we've got the Texans, who could be doing a whole lot better. They're going against the Seattle Seahawks, who are quite the contender this season with Sam Darnold. Sims picked Texans. I'm kind of picking the Seahawks at home here on Monday Night Football. Let's get into the against the spread section where we can actually talk about these games a bit more. So, as I mentioned before, in Wembley, we've got the Rams versus the Jaguars. I have picked the Jaguars here, plus 3.5. We've talked about the injuries in LA. There is only 2 outs, I believe, that tackle and Puka Nacua. I am going with the Jags here just because last season when the Rams were only down to 1 receiver, they were having trouble despite having Tyler Higbee, despite having Tutu Atwell. I think the Jags can kind of keep a hot streak here. And I do believe the Rams have traveled the latest that any team has ever traveled to England. So this could work in their favor. They could escape that jet lag and be hit with it later. Or else they could just be late to the party. Who knows what's going to happen there? I'm going with the Jags. They've played there enough. They know their travel schedule should be down. Next up, we've got the Chicago Bears getting -3.5. I'm going with the Bears here against the Saints. The Bears are on an upward trajectory, okay? So just believe me when I say that there might be a time where the whole NFC North is going to the playoffs. I'm saying that. Listen to me. Next up, we've got the Miami Dolphins going into Cleveland. Cleveland getting 2.5 here. I am picking Cleveland here. Word out is that it's going to be possibly a rainy day, so lots of running. Teams do realize that the Dolphins cannot stop the run. Guess who can stop the run? The Browns. I think this is a Browns game. I think the ground game is going to be real heavy because of the weather. I just think this is a Browns game. Next up, we've got Kansas City getting 12.5 points in a divisional against the Raiders. I think that's a lot of points. I've got the Raiders here, 12.5. Geno Smith has thrown an interception in every game except for one, I believe. Max Crosby usually does get a sack on Patrick Mahomes. But the Chiefs do definitely win this game, and the Raiders probably cover this one. Next, we've got Philadelphia getting 1.5 points against the Vikings. I've got the Vikings here plus 1.5. I think this is a Carson Wentz game, so I can possibly understand the line. I don't think Philadelphia's got too many injuries either. I am going with the Vikings here still. Panthers getting 1.5 in the Factory of Sadness 2.0. I've got the Panthers. I think they win this game. 1.5. Yeah, sure. That's good enough for me. The run game is probably going to be big here again for the Panthers, just because Rico Dowdle has been absolutely lighting people up. Jets do have an okay, pretty good actually, run stop game. Should say that in that way. But I still think Rico Dowdle just continues to just blitz on all cylinders, which allows Bryce Young to kind of sling the ball around. So, yeah, Panthers here. Next, we've got the Patriots, 6.5 points against the Titans. I think this is, it's probably going to be quite a tight game. But then again, it's probably not going to be. Mike Vrabel's a defensively minded coach. He's a really smart guy. Really smart dude. I think what's going to happen here is that Cam Ward and that offense are going to get shut down. Oh, this is a tough one though, because it is an interim head coach game, and it's usually an interim head coach bump. So, I'm not going to be angry at you if you take the Titans, and I'm not going to be angry if the Titans win. They could very much win this game with that interim head coach bump. There are some franchises that this does not work for. The Jets last season, they did not win their interim head coach bump, but that's the Jets. That's the Jets. For some reason, I'm going with the Patriots here, 6.5. I really should change that to the Tennessee Titans, but I can't be bothered. I think Patriots still win this game. Denver Broncos getting 7.5 points against the Giants. I'm going with the Giants. You know how I feel about these guys. Even when they're an absolute shit show of a team, I still kind of root for them. But they're on the up and up. 7.5 points is a lot. Yeah. Giants, let's go Big Blue. Colts going into Los Angeles. Los Angeles, like I said, is the favorite here. 2.5 points. I am not 100% sure why that is. I've got Colts at 2.5 points. They probably do win this game. Either team can really win this game. This is a very hard week to pick. There's a lot of very good matchups here. But yeah, I'm going with the Colts. Next, we've got the Packers. 7.5 points against the Arizona Cardinals. I have got the Cardinals at plus 7.5. I think Green Bay wins the game. They just take a lot of points in the fourth quarter and let teams get back. So I think they win the game. The Cardinals have basically lost every one of their losing games by one score, so they can definitely cover here. Cardinals 7.5 is probably a good bet. Dallas is hosting their divisional rivals, the Commanders. They get 1.5 points at home. I have the Cowboys here at -1.5. Dak Prescott football is Dak Prescott football. He is absolutely on a tear right now. Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders can be seen as slightly more of a complete team at this stage, with the Dallas Cowboy defense just being a absolutely floodgate letting points through. But Washington Commanders have also been taking quite a few points themselves, so kettle pot black. I've got the Cowboys here. Next up, we got the Falcons. Sunday Night Football taking on the 49ers, 1.5 points. I don't care who's healthy for the 49ers. Bijan Robinson is a beast. Michael Penix is getting their shit sorted out. I think they got 9 sacks last week. Something insane like that. They pressure a lot. They blitz a lot. I think this is going to be the Falcons game. I think they're figuring it out. They're probably going to be a very tough team in the near future. This season's actually shaken up to be quite interesting, especially with the Bears getting good, the Panthers getting good, and the Falcons getting good, and the Giants getting good quite quickly. It seems like there might only be 2 to 3 bad teams in the NFL, and they're still keeping it competitive, i.e. the Saints, i.e. kind of the Dolphins, kind of. It seems like probably the worst teams right now in my mind might be the Raiders and the Dolphins. And the Saints, of course. But they're slightly getting better. This is a good season, guys. This is a good season. Anyway, on Monday we've got 2 games. We've got the Buccaneers going into Detroit. Detroit's getting 6.5 points here again. I think it's because of the injuries. I don't really understand it based off last week's performance from the Lions. I'm picking the Buccaneers here. I think 6.5 is very good. They've put all the doubters to shame as well. Yeah, this is a Mayfield. Mayfield probably sees that line, and Baker is like, here we go again. All right, Monday Night Football, the last game of the week. We've got the Texans going into the Seattle Seahawks. I believe the Seahawks are probably at the top of their division. They're getting 3.5 points at home. I'm going with the Seahawks here, 3.5 points. The Texans could quietly be getting their stuff together, though. How did the Texans do last week? That's what you ask? And I wonder why you asked that, because they were on a bye. They really were on a bye. I don't know why you asked that. But the week before that, 44-10 against the Ravens. Could be a very good Monday Night Football game. I'm still going with the Seahawks here. And then on the bye week, we've got the Bills and the Ravens. Now let's go to lines with them. Alright guys, so before we do that, let's go back to the against the spread. And I just want you to know, the season has been horrendous. This is the first time that I've been picking against the spread. I don't think I'm very good at it. The season record is 35-51. We keep on having negative scores. 6 to 8 last week, 6 to 7 the week before, 4 to 11 on week 4 is what really ruined this record. But maybe we can get back. I don't particularly bet on the spread, guys. I just like to pick it because I think it's fun. But typically I have fun when I win, so I don't think I'm having fun with this season. Anyway, lines we like. Lines we like are lines that you can use to prop up, one of your bets, at least the over-under section and the prop bet section. You can use those to boost a certain one of your kind of parlay bets. Favorite dogs are obviously my favorite dogs for the week. I like the Jacksonville Jaguars here in Wembley Stadium against the Rams. I like the Indianapolis Colts being dogs against the Chargers. I like the Atlanta Falcons also being the dogs against the Niners. I like Tampa being dogs against the Lions. And I like the Giants being dogs against the Denver Broncos. Those are my favorite dogs. Pick them up. Put them in a parlay. Don't do it. Who knows? Big spreads. Big spreads are, they're what they are. You can put in an alternative spread there. you can get a better handicap, you can get a better betting line. This week's big spreads for me are Cleveland Browns 9.5 against that absolutely just non-existent run defense from the Miami Dolphins in a rainy game in Cleveland. Then I do have the New England Patriots getting 13.5 against the Tennessee Titans in that revenge game. Tennessee might get that, interim head coach bump. They might not. Take this one with a grain of salt. Over and unders this week, these are the ones that you can use to just prop up your regular parlays. We've got the Rams and Jaguars, total points over 44.5. I do believe that's doable. Giants at Broncos, total points under 40.5. That Denver defense is crazy. I just don't think the offense has it figured out quite yet. And I do believe the Broncos have just come back from England, so it's a good chance they might be dealing with some jet lag there. That's why the Giants are my favorite dogs for the week. Know about this points total though. Anyway, Commanders versus the Cowboys, total points over 53.5. Both teams take points like a sieve. This is going to be a high scoring game despite it being divisional. Packers and Cardinals also total points over 44.5. Packers are going to score. Then they're going to let the other team score. That's how it goes. Packers win the game. Total points over 44.5. Now, props. These are things that you can also use to boost your parlays. You can run these by themselves as well. Some of them are pretty good lines. We got Max Crosby to get a sack against Patrick Mahomes in that divisional. They do play twice a year. That means Patrick Mahomes has to deal with him twice a year, which means Max Crosby gets at least 2 sacks on him a year. We got Rashee Rice coming back from an injury as well, picking up a touchdown. Kansas City likes to feature their guys. You know that when they get somebody new, or they get somebody back, or they get somebody unknown, they like to feature them with a touchdown. So I think Rashee Rice gets one. Trevor Lawrence rushing yards over 14.5. Pretty alright Rams front. Could have the big man moving. 14.5 yards is not a whole lot for that guy. It's probably like 4 to 5 strides, really. I got Devontae Adams to pick up a touchdown with Puka Nacua being out of this one. Devontae Adams should hopefully be the number 1 touchdown target. It is Tyler Higbee and it is Tutu Atwell as well to eat. And I think Kyron Williams is also around, so Devontae Adams probably gets that touchdown though. Bijan Robson also to get a touchdown. This guy is an absolute weapon. He's a weapon. He gashed the Bills last week for like an 80-yard touchdown. He's a monster. Anyway, let's go to the final section of the show, and that's the bets section. So every week we put 2 bets on at least. It's a ritual per se. So the first is our 5-game parlay. And this week's 5-game parlay has the New England Patriots on the money line. It's got the Indianapolis Colts at +2.5. It's got the Green Bay Packers money line against the Cardinals. It's got the Falcons +2.5 against the Niners. It's got the New York Giants +7.5 against the Denver Broncos coming back from England. Run them if you like, change them up. 5 games seems to be a pretty nice spot, getting good odds and a very kind of possible win. Ride with me, boys, ride with me. Next, we have the $1 Million Parlay. This is an ongoing thing, as well as the 5-game parlay from last season. If you're new to the show, I'll explain it. I want to become a millionaire, and I want to do it the easy way. And I think you do as well. This parlay is a 100,000 to 1, roughly, odd parlay. Meaning, you put $10 on there, you enjoy Sunday football, you come out a millionaire, just like me. This one is very rushing heavy, so we'll go over the rushing first, and then we'll chuck in the other ones. So we've got Saquon Barkley, we've got Saquon Barkley against the Vikings, who I believe is out of safety. So they're gonna, I think they're out of safety, so they could take big rushing yards from Saquon. We've got Quinshon Judkins, who's had very big games recently in the rain this week, at home in Cleveland, against the Miami Dolphins, who have no run defense, 125 rush yards as well as Saquon. We've got Bijan Robinson going against the 49ers, who are missing Fred Warner, their linebacker. Expected yards per carry goes up by 1 whole rush yard when he is out. Bijan Robinson is on an MVP season. 125 rush yards for him. Rico Dowdle has been tearing it up for the Panthers as well as of late. 110 rushing yards for him against the Cowboys. Oh, no, not against the Cowboys, my bad. Against the Jets. Again, they do have an alright rushing defense, but they're on a roll. I think they might have it figured out. Big game here from Rico Dowdle. Then I've got Cam Scatterboo, 90 plus rush yards against the Denver Broncos. This one is a slightly lower just because Tyrone Tracy might be back, and just because that is a very, very good defense, that Denver defense. 90 plus yards, kind of modest. I think he can do it. Big week this week for the rushing. Big week this week for the legs. I got Jordan Love as well. He's starting to open up on with his legs himself. 10.5 rush yards for him against the Cardinals. I think it's very doable. If he sees that he can get a first down with his legs, I do believe he's going to do it. Last season he was dealing with coming back from a leg injury, so I understand why he was a bit hesitant. I was annoyed that he was so hesitant, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing this season from him. 10.5 rush yards. Now, as I mentioned before, Puka Nacua being out, and Matt Stafford loving to throw to his number one guy. That number one guy this week is Devontae Adams. I think it's a big game. 125 receiving yards against the Jags in London again. Rams have just gotten to the London very, very late, or at least Wembley, sorry, England. So, you know, this might not be as amazing as I think it would be, but hopefully Devontae Adams gets 125 plus receiving yards. And then the final thing there is that Rashee Rice touchdown again. He's coming back from an injury. The Chiefs like to get their new guys, their guys returning from injury, and their unknown guys touchdowns. Rashee Rice for a TD. That's the $1 million parlay, guys. It is a big one. It is very rushing heavy, hoping that the ground game is massive this week. But we need to take those big bets so that this line doesn't become 15 legs long and become much more unreasonable to manage, or at least get on the screen. But that was it. That was the Sean Show, episode 9 of season 2, week 7 NFL football. Enjoy the Wembley game, guys. It is on in about 2 hours, I believe. It should be fun. Again, with that one, I am picking the Jaguars here. Keep an eye out for that one. Hopefully it's a great game though. Anyway, enjoy the Sunday football. Put on that $1 million parlay. Become a millionaire like me. And I will see you next week.